on the boom.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, so I've got this very, very nice fish right here. I just caught. And I just want to talk a little bit about how I caught it and what I was using and stuff like that. I was using a little straight tail worm, actually 7.5 inch straight tail worm. Had a lot of action, Texas rig, about 1/4 of an ounce weight. Fish was about 8 feet deep up on top of a drop, and then it drops down to about 12 feet into a channel. Just brought it up, never felt the bite. The bait just simply started swimming off. As I set the hook, I didn't think it was this big until it started to pull. Ran me in loops around my kayak. But with a little patience and a little luck, I got that big girl in. Not a bad fish at all. I once guided a 85-year-old man, and we fished all day long together. We caught a few fish, but we just had a good time. But there was a period of time during the day that he was very quiet, didn't say a whole lot, and he stopped for a minute and he looked at me and he said, "You know what? There's just something magical about being on the water." And it's true. It's one of those places where you can put aside all your stresses in life and you can focus. You don't have to be fishing, but it gives you the opportunity just to think about the finer things in lives, or just get away from life. It's just everybody uses it as some type of a therapy that I know of. Anyway, you get out on the water and you start messing around in this stuff, and it's just therapy is all it is. And that's why I think it's just so attractive to a lot of people. To get good contact with the tip of the hook. Okay, but for today we're going to talk about how to put a hook in a worm. This is a straight trick worm. Okay, now first thing I like to do to start with is I like to take the hook, lay it alongside the worm where it's going to go in. Okay, I want the eye of the hook to go a little bit into the worm to cover up the knot, kind of protect the knot from whatever sinker I might be using at the time. Okay. Now I lay it alongside and I take note of where the hook comes out of the worm here and where it goes into the worm right here. You don't want to. The best thing is to just stick to it. You know, and get online, get on my YouTube channel, get on one of my Friday night lives. I hate to toot that horn, but you know, it's one of those things where you can ask me directly, how do I do this? How do I get started? Or I'm having trouble catching fish. Or I remember several years ago when I started doing live events, I had a fan say, "Look, I'd never caught a fish." And I said, "Dude, this is what you need to do. Get a small worm, put it on." You know, I went through the details, and he explained and described the places he was fishing. He went out the next day and caught his first bass. You know, and there's I've made videos on how to catch your first bass. Best thing is to take it slow. You know, learn the basics, study the basics. I've got a playlist of beginner fishing videos, and it goes in progression all the way through, and you should be able to catch a fish by the 8th or 9th video.
So we could even go down and
Yep.
check out more of the canal
Especially
area.
this morning.
Absolutely.
There's a little bitty pond right there. Oh yeah, we're gonna go exploring today. Hey, about 3 pounds. to be honest with you. Fishing, just fishing, I grew up a deer hunter, and I love to hunt, but deer hunting is no longer exciting to me. I got to the point where I was really, really good at it, and it got boring. And so I backed away from that, and then bass fishing happened, and I love the hunt. And the cool thing about a bass is you can't see it in the water. It's not one of those things. You can't just, see it every time and pitch to it and catch it. And so it's more of, I enjoy looking for them and studying their reactions to certain things and the weather and everything else, and then going and finding them. And me getting a bite is like most people catching it and bringing it in and taking a picture. I want the bite. After the bite, it's just get them in the boat so I can make the fish famous and put it back in the water and go. Woo, almost need a bigger clip. Eight even. Look at that monster. This right here is what keeps me coming back. Oh, son of a gun. All right, you ready to let her go?
No.
Scott's got to get more pictures. This one definitely deserves a ding. Wow. So my fondest fishing memory, I grew up in a large family. I'm the 7th of 8 children. And in the 80s, there wasn't a lot of money to go around. Dad and Mom, I watched them pinch pennies. We were, it was the recession, and we were growing food in the garden and everything else just to try to make ends meet. Well, for vacation, my dad always made sure we did something. And so we would pack the whole family up and go to the North Georgia mountains. And that's where I learned how to fish, was fishing for trout in the North Georgia mountains. And we'd camp all week and have a whole lot of fun. And it was just a good time. So my dad, taught me to love being up there. And I don't know how many years ago, I mean, it was back when a 9 or 8 megapixel camera was a good, affordable camera. And so I remember having one with me, and we took a trip up to North Georgia mountains. By this time I was married, I had kids. And we just went and did our normal thing, the thing that we grew up doing, going down this one little stretch of Cooper's Creek in North Georgia and catching fish. Well, we were down one of our favorite stretches, and I got the feeling that this was going to be the last day I got to fish with my father. And so I grabbed my camera and I sat down on the bank and I turned around and I started snapping shots of my dad fishing. That's what he loved to do the most. Between duck hunting and pheasant hunting and trout fishing, those were his favorite things. And so I got a chance to take some amazing pictures of him in his element. And to this day, they are my favorite pictures. I'm talking sun shining through the trees, behind him, his knees in the water. He's got his spinning rod out, and he's making beautiful little pitches and just gorgeous shots. And matter of fact, my mom found my favorite one and gave it to me for my birthday just recently, which was really cool. But that did end up being the last day we fished together. My dad passed away about 2.5 years ago of Parkinson's disease. He was 83. A tough way to go, but we had some great memorable times. He was a great father, and I was so lucky to have him. So yeah, that was one of my favorite memories. And I get asked all the time, if this all YouTube stuff was gone tomorrow, what would you do? And I'll go fishing. Seriously, if this is all gone tomorrow, I'll load up the boat, go put it in the water, and go fishing. And that's because that's where my release is. And so yeah, there's just too many good things that can come from fishing, and not a whole lot of bad things.